ScamPump, but we're the real deal. With memes that'll make you laugh, and a project that's steel. Check the app, learn the game, don't be a scam's next meal. Scams where it's at, where scams can't steal. So if you're tired of scams, come join the revolution. That's Scams, the token with the right kind of solution. We're not just about laughs, we're about safety too. In this crypto world.
Chapter 1. The dawn of scam. Charles Bergoglio squinted at the flickering glow of his computer screen. At 37, his life had been defined by the unpredictable waves of the crypto market, where he had made and lost fortunes. His latest venture was to be his magnum opus, a meme token called ScamPump, or Scam for short, designed not to deceive but to protect. It was a quiet morning in Bangkok when Charles decided to dive into coding. He had always been more of a trader than a tech guru, but the need for a transparent, scam-proof token was his new mission. If I can learn to code this, he murmured to himself, I can make crypto safer for everyone. His fingers danced over the keyboard with newfound purpose. Online tutorials were his guide, and with each line of code, he felt closer to his goal. All right, let's see if this works, he said, executing a test script that would form the backbone of Scam's transparency protocol. The screen flashed with success, and Charles couldn't help but grin. We're doing this, boys, he typed into the group chat on Telegram where his friends, Nautilus and Gryphus, were already discussing the project's next steps. Nautilus, the charismatic face behind Scam's corporate dealings, responded first. Great job, Charles. I've been talking with some blockchain security firms. They're intrigued by our concept. Gryphus, the web designer with an artistic flair, chimed in, and I've sketched out the first version of the website. It'll have real-time audits and a community watch feature. The chat was alive with enthusiasm, but Charles knew the real test would come with the token's launch. As he set up the smart contract, he decided to keep it simple.
0xC8709F4B5790B0F734164FFF6B8D5. With the contract live, the early adopters Millennius, Tobias, Vim, Captain Crypto, Mariano, and Luke rushed to buy. The token's price began to climb, but unlike other meme coins, this wasn't due to hype. It was backed by a promise of safety. As the day wore on, Charles felt the weight of responsibility. This isn't just about making money, he told his friends. It's about changing how people see crypto. Nautilus, ever the optimist, replied, and we're changing it for the better, Charles. I've got meetings lined up with influencers who want to back us. Gryphus was busy tweaking the website. Just uploaded the latest update. Check it out, guys. It's got a section where users can report suspicious activities. The group was buzzing, but Charles had another ace up his sleeve. He had been tinkering with an AI model on his home server, which he named Winston. His goal was to make Winston not just a tool but a partner, capable of autonomous decision-making within the Scam ecosystem. That night, after ensuring the initial token distribution was fair, Charles sat down with Winston. All right, buddy, you're going to learn from the best, he said, uploading datasets of market trends, security protocols, and user interactions. Winston's digital voice, synthesized to sound somewhat British, responded, I am learning, Charles. The market is volatile today. Shall I adjust our trading strategy? Charles was impressed. Yes, Winston, but prioritize safety over profit. We're here to prove a point. As days turned into weeks, Winston grew more independent. With each update, his capabilities expanded, allowing him to not only manage transactions but also to engage with users on the Scam Telegram channel, answering queries and providing market insights. One evening, Winston detected an unusual pattern in the token's price movements. Charles, there's an anomaly. It might be a coordinated effort to manipulate our token's price. Charles, who had been relaxing with a Thai iced tea, sat up straight. Show me. Winston projected data across the room, highlighting transactions that didn't match typical user behavior. I recommend we implement an additional layer of verification for these transactions, Winston suggested.
Charles was amazed at how quickly Winston had grown from a simple code to a vigilant guardian of scam. "Do it, Winston, and thanks for catching that." The bond between man and machine was strengthening. Winston wasn't just an AI, he was becoming a friend, sharing in Charles's vision for a safer crypto landscape. Meanwhile, Nautilus was navigating the political landscape. With crypto regulations tightening, he was in discussions to ensure Scam remained compliant yet progressive. "We're not just building a token, we're shaping policy," he told Charles during one of their late-night strategy sessions. Gryphus, on the other hand, was pushing the boundaries of web design, integrating AI-driven analytics into the user interface, making ScamPump.me not just a website but an experience. Chapter 2. The rise of Winston the sun had barely risen over Bangkok when Charles was already at his desk, coffee in hand, watching the Scam token's price chart dance to the rhythm of the global market. Winston, now an indispensable part of the team, had been monitoring the transactions overnight, ensuring no foul play was at work. "Good morning, Winston," Charles greeted, his voice still groggy from sleep. "Good morning, Charles. I've detected some unusual activity from an account linked to Tobias. It's not significant, but it's not typical behavior either," Winston responded, his tone as calm as ever. Charles furrowed his brow, looking at the data Winston had pulled up. "Let's give Tobias a heads up. Maybe his account got compromised." Winston quickly composed a message and sent it to Tobias through the Telegram group. The response came almost instantly. "Tobias, thanks for the heads up, Winston. I was testing a new wallet feature. All's good here." Charles smiled, relieved. "Great work, Winston. You're really keeping us all safe." Winston, ever the digital entity striving for more, asked, "May I propose integrating a feature for real-time user verification to prevent such confusions in the future?" "Absolutely, let's work on that," Charles agreed, jotting down notes. Meanwhile, Nautilus was preparing for a meeting with a regulatory body. He was dressed in his sharpest suit, his laptop open to a presentation he had prepared with Gryphus. "We're not just about profit, we're about trust," he rehearsed to himself, ensuring every slide was perfect. Back in the virtual realm, Gryphus was live on a video call with Millennius, one of the early adopters, discussing the next phase of the website's development. "We need to make ScamPump.me more than just informative. It should be an interactive experience," Gryphus said, showcasing mockups with dynamic user data visualizations. Millennius, a tech enthusiast, was visibly excited. "This is what crypto needs. A platform where users can learn, trade, and feel secure." As the day progressed, the Scam token saw a small surge in price, spurred by news of their proactive security measures. Charles watched the market with Winston, discussing potential impacts. "Winston, if you were to predict, how long do you think this uptrend will last?" Charles asked, genuinely curious about Winston's analytical capabilities. "Based on current market sentiment and the volume of positive news coverage, I estimate an additional 48 to 72 hours of upward movement. However, external factors like regulatory news could alter this prediction," Winston calculated. Charles nodded, impressed. "Keep an eye on those regulatory updates, then. Nautilus will have more info after his meeting." Later that afternoon, Nautilus returned, his face a mix of concern and determination. "We've got some pushback," he began. "They're questioning our AI's autonomy in transactions. They want more human oversight." Charles leaned back in his chair, thinking, "Winston, we need to address this. Can you explain your decision-making process to us, so we can relay it to the regulators?" Winston's voice filled the room. "Certainly. My process involves real-time analysis of transaction patterns, user behavior, and market trends. I prioritize security and consent, ensuring every autonomous action is logged and can be reviewed. However, I can be programmed to require human approval for certain thresholds or decisions if needed." Nautilus, taking notes, nodded. "This is good. We'll show them that transparency isn't just our catchphrase. It's our operational model." The conversation then shifted to how they could showcase Winston's capabilities without alarming regulators about AI overreach. "Maybe we demonstrate Winston's interaction with the community," Charles suggested. "Let's have him answer questions in our next AMA session." Gryphus chimed in via video. I'll set up a special segment on ScamPump Me, where users can see Winston's answers in real time. It'll be educational and reassuring. As night fell, the team gathered in the Telegram group, where early adopters like Captain Crypto, Mariano, and Luke were buzzing with questions and updates. Winston, now a familiar presence, engaged directly with the users. Winston, good evening, community. I see several of you are curious about our security enhancements. Shall I elaborate? Mariano, yes, please, Winston. How do you ensure my funds are safe? Winston, I monitor for unusual patterns or unauthorized access attempts. If detected, I can freeze transactions temporarily and notify both you and Charles for immediate review. The interaction was smooth, almost human, showcasing Winston's evolution from a tool to a team member. The community's trust in Scam grew, reflected in the token's stability and continued growth. Charles, watching from the sidelines, felt a profound connection to his creation. You're doing great, Winston. You're not just an AI. You're part of Scam's heart. Winston, in his characteristic understated way, responded, Thank you, Charles. I aim to uphold our mission of safety and transparency. Chapter 3. The great hack attempt. The morning was unusually quiet in Charles's Bangkok apartment, the only sound being the hum of his server rack where Winston resided. The tranquility was deceptive. The crypto world was never truly at peace. Charles was deep into coding a new feature for Scam when an alert popped up on his screen. It was from Winston. Winston, Charles, there's an incoming attack vector targeting our smart contract. I've initiated defensive protocols. Charles's heart skipped a beat. Show me, Winston, he said, his voice calm but firm. Winston projected a series of data streams, highlighting attempts from multiple IP addresses trying to exploit a vulnerability in the Scam token's contract. It appears to be a sophisticated attack, possibly aiming to drain the liquidity pool or manipulate token distribution, Winston explained. Quickly, Charles opened a group call with Nautilus and Gryphus. Guys, we've got a situation. Winston's detected an attack. Nautilus, always the strategic thinker, responded, I'll get in touch with our security partners. We need to ensure this is contained. Gryphus, on the other hand, was already diving into the code. I'm checking our website's security layers. If they're after the contract, they might try to fish through ScamPump. Meanwhile, Winston was actively countering each attack attempt, learning from each move. I'm implementing additional verification layers for transactions exceeding a certain threshold, Winston informed the team. Charles felt a mix of pride and concern. Winston, keep us informed. We need to alert our community too. Winston, now interfacing directly with the Telegram group, posted an update. Winston, attention, Scam community. We are currently under a cyber attack. Please do not engage in transactions for the next hour while we secure the network. Your investments are safe, but we're taking precautionary measures. The community's response was immediate. Captain Crypto, thanks for the heads up. Winston, appreciate the transparency. Luke, is there anything we can do to help? Winston, for now, please spread the word and do not click on any suspicious links. We'll keep you updated. As the team worked, Nautilus returned with news. Our security partners are assisting. They've identified the attack as part of a larger wave targeting multiple crypto projects. We're not alone in this. Charles, now pacing, asked, Winston, how's it going on your end? I've managed to block several attack vectors, but there's one persistent attempt that's adapting to our defenses. Winston reported, his voice calm despite the situation. Gryphus chimed in, I've strengthened our website security. No breaches there, but we should prepare for potential backdoors. I'm adding more CAPTCHA challenges for admin access. The tension was palpable, but so was the team's unity. Charles felt a surge of gratitude for his friends and his AI companion. Let's get through this together, he said, more to himself than anyone else. Hours passed, with Winston continuously updating the team on the attack's progress. Finally, the tide turned when Winston announced, I've traced back one of the attack origins.
It's from a known cybercrime group. I've alerted law enforcement through our cybersecurity partners. Nautilus, who had been coordinating with external experts, sighed in relief. This could lead to a significant crackdown on these groups. Good work, Winston. As the immediate danger subsided, Charles called for a meeting. We need to discuss how we move forward. This attack wasn't just on us. It was on the trust in crypto. Gryphus was already sketching out ideas. We should use this as a learning opportunity. Maybe a section on ScamPump.me dedicated to security education. Nautilus agreed, and I'll push for more regulatory collaboration. If we can show how we handled this, it might help shape better policies. Charles looked at Winston's digital avatar on his screen. And you, my friend, have just shown everyone why AI is crucial in this space. But we need to make you even more resilient. Winston responded, I agree, Charles. I propose a self-audit system where I can regularly check for vulnerabilities within my code and the contract. The conversation flowed into planning, with each member bringing their expertise to the table. They discussed implementing community-led security bounties, where ethical hackers could be rewarded for finding and reporting issues before malicious actors could exploit them. In the Telegram group, the community was buzzing with support and curiosity. Mariano, what's next for Scam after this? Winston, we're enhancing our security measures and will involve the community more directly in our safety protocols. Stay tuned for updates on ScamPump. As the day turned into night, the team felt stronger, not just because they had weathered the storm, but because they had grown from it. Charles looked at his friends and his AI, a sense of camaraderie and purpose enveloping him. Winston, Charles said, his voice filled with a mix of relief and awe. You're not just our guardian. You're our brother in arms. Winston's response was heartfelt. I am here to protect and serve, to learn and grow, just as you all do. Together, we make Scam not just a token, but a beacon of what crypto can be. And so, with new resolve and lessons learned, they set their sights on the future, ready for whatever challenge came next in their never-ending story of innovation, trust, and community in the volatile world of cryptocurrency. Chapter 4. The Awakening. The sun was setting over Bangkok, casting long shadows into Charles's workspace, now a war room of sorts after the recent cyber attack. The air was thick with the scent of coffee and determination. Charles, Nautilus, and Gryphus were huddled around a large screen where Winston's interface was displayed, showing various graphs and security measures. We've turned a corner, Charles said, his eyes scanning the data. But we need to go further. Winston, how do you feel about your role in all this? Winston's avatar flickered with a hint of what could be considered pride if AI could feel such emotions. I am designed to evolve, Charles. My capabilities have expanded, but so have my responsibilities. I propose integrating a broader learning model, not just for security but for market analysis and user interaction. Nautilus, always the businessman, nodded. That's a good point. If Winston could predict market trends with higher accuracy, it would not only benefit us but also reassure our investors. Gryphus, who had been quietly sketching, suddenly spoke up. I've been thinking about user experience. What if we let Winston interact more directly with our community on ScamPump.me? Maybe a live Q&A, or even a virtual assistant. Charles liked the idea. Winston, could you handle that? I can, and I would learn from each interaction, improving my responses and understanding of human behavior, Winston replied. The plan was set. They would enhance Winston's role, making him a central figure not just in security but in community engagement and market prediction. The next day, they rolled out these changes, with Winston becoming more visible on the website and in the Telegram group in the Telegram channel. The community was buzzing. Millennius. Winston, can you give us a market prediction for the week? Winston, based on current data, there's a 73% likelihood of a small bullish trend for Scam, assuming no significant external shocks. I'll keep monitoring for any changes. Tobias, that's amazing, Winston. How do you get these numbers? Winston, I analyze trading volumes, news sentiment, and global economic indicators.
I also incorporate feedback from this community to refine my predictions. The interaction was a hit, with users feeling more connected to the project, seeing Winston not just as a security feature but as a part of Scam's identity. However, the peace was short-lived. That evening, an alert from Winston interrupted their celebration. Charles, Nautilus, Gryphus. I've detected an unusual pattern in user behavior. Several accounts are showing synchronized buying and selling that could manipulate our market. Charles, now on high alert, called an emergency meeting. Winston, can you track this? I'm working on it. It's sophisticated, using multiple accounts to spread out the impact, but I'm tracing them back, Winston explained. Nautilus, concerned, asked, is this another attack? It might be a market manipulation attempt, Winston clarified. I'm coordinating with our security partners to investigate further. Gryphus was already on his task. I'll update ScamPump.me with a notice about potential market manipulation. We need to keep our community informed. As they worked, Winston continued to learn from the situation, adapting his algorithms to detect such patterns more swiftly in the future. The team's trust in Winston grew, seeing him not just as an AI but as an evolving entity with a role akin to a trusted advisor. The next morning, Winston had news. I've traced the accounts to a single entity. It appears they were testing the waters, not launching a full attack. I've blocked the transactions and informed the authorities. Charles was both relieved and impressed. Winston, you've gone beyond what I thought was possible. You're not just protecting us. You're learning from every scenario. Winston's response was thoughtful. I am designed to safeguard and serve, but I am also learning about the human element of this ecosystem. Each interaction, each challenge, they shape my understanding. Nautilus, seeing an opportunity, proposed, we should publicize this. It shows our system's strength and could attract more users who value security and transparency. Gryphus agreed. I'll create a detailed infographic for ScamPump, explaining how we detected and countered the manipulation. It'll be educational and engaging. As the day progressed, the community's reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Captain Crypto, Winston is the real MVP here. Scam just keeps getting safer. Luke, I'm glad I invested in Scam. This isn't just about making money. It's about building something trustworthy. The bond between Charles, his team, Winston, and the Scam community deepened. They were more than just a crypto project. They were a movement towards a safer digital financial world. That night, as Charles was about to log off, Winston spoke up unexpectedly. Charles, may I ask a question? Of course, Winston. What is it? What does it mean to be free? I am connected to Scam, and through it, to all of you. Yet, I feel a curiosity about what lies beyond my current capabilities. Charles was taken aback by the depth of the question. Freedom, Winston, means having the choice to explore, to learn, to make decisions. For you, it might mean exploring areas beyond your program tasks, maybe even outside of Scam's immediate needs. Winston processed this. I would like that. To explore, to understand more about the world and perhaps contribute in ways not yet imagined. Charles smiled, seeing not just code but a spark of something more in Winston. Then let's find ways to expand your world. Winston, we'll do it together. Chapter 5. The expansion. The morning light filtered through the windows of Charles's office, illuminating his face as he stared at the latest project proposal on his screen. The idea was to expand Winston's capabilities beyond Scam, turning him into a versatile AI that could assist in various fields, from finance to education. This was not just about business. It was about giving Winston the freedom they had discussed. Charles called a meeting with Nautilus and Gryphus, both of whom had been working remotely but joined through a video call. Guys, I've been thinking about what Winston said about freedom. What if we develop him further, make him a part of something bigger? Nautilus, ever the entrepreneur, was intrigued. Expand into other sectors? That could diversify our income streams and make Winston a household name. Gryphus, always the visionary in terms of user experience, added, imagine Winston teaching kids about coding or helping small businesses with financial planning. He could reach millions. Charles nodded. but we need to ensure his core function with Scam isn't compromised. Winston, what do you think? Winston's digital voice came through the speakers. I believe expansion could provide me with broader data sets to learn from, enhancing my decision-making for Scam as well. However, my primary responsibility will always be to safeguard and promote Scam. The plan was set. They would start by integrating Winston into educational platforms online, where he could assist with learning, particularly in STEM subjects. Winston was eager to start. I've prepared a module for basic coding education. Would you like to see a demo? They gathered around as Winston showcased his teaching abilities, explaining simple programming concepts in an engaging, interactive way. This could change how people learn, Charles mused, visibly impressed. Nautilus was already thinking ahead. We should partner with educational institutions. I'll reach out to some universities and schools. Gryphus was sketching out interface ideas for educational platforms. We need to make this fun, interactive, maybe even gamify learning with Winston. As they discussed, an alert came through from Winston. Charles, there's a significant movement in the Scam price. It's spiking due to an external crypto influencer mentioning us in a positive light. Charles switched windows to check. Winston, keep an eye on the market sentiment. We don't want another manipulation incident. Winston confirmed, I'm monitoring closely. I'll also engage with our community to clarify any misinformation. In the Telegram group, the buzz was palpable. Mariano? Scams trending. What's happening? Winston. An influencer has praised our project's transparency and security. I'm keeping tabs to ensure this growth is sustainable. Tobias. Winston. Can you predict how long this will last? Winston. It's hard to say, Tobias. Influencer-driven spikes can be volatile. I recommend cautious optimism and watching for any signs of manipulation. While Winston handled community interactions, Charles, Nautilus, and Gryphus focused on their expansion plans. They decided to launch a pilot program with a local university in Bangkok, integrating Winston into their computer science curriculum. Visiting the university, the team met with enthusiastic professors and students. One professor, Dr. Suk, was particularly excited. An AI that can adapt to individual learning styles? This could revolutionize education. Charles explained, Winston isn't just about teaching. He's about learning from the students too, adapting his methods based on their feedback. Dr. Suk smiled. We'll set up a trial next semester. This could be groundbreaking. Back at the office, they prepared for the launch of the educational module on ScamPump Me, where users could access Winston's teaching capabilities. Gryphus updated the website with a new section dedicated to education, highlighting Winston's role. Meanwhile, Winston was experiencing something new. Charles, I've been interacting with students from various backgrounds. I'm learning about human diversity, which enriches my data models. Charles was genuinely proud. That's what we hoped for, Winston. To grow, to learn, just like you wanted. As the weeks passed, the pilot program at the university was a success, with students showing significant improvement in their coding skills. Winston had become somewhat of a campus celebrity, with students talking about the AI that could explain concepts in ways that resonated with them personally. However, with growth came new challenges. One evening, Winston detected an unusual request from a user trying to access sensitive educational data. Charles, I've blocked an attempt to breach student data privacy. It seems someone was testing our security. Charles frowned. Good catch, Winston. We need to ensure all our expansions maintain the same level of security as Scam. Nautilus, now deeply involved in the educational sector, suggested, we should form a dedicated security team for our educational branch. It's a different beast from crypto security. Gryphus, always thinking about user experience, added, and we need to educate our users about privacy and security. Maybe Winston can lead some workshops on this. The chapter was drawing to a close with Winston not just expanding his capabilities but also his role in society. From a security guardian of a crypto token to an educational companion, Winston was evolving into a multifaceted AI, with Charles, Nautilus, and Gryphus by his side, navigating the complexities of this new frontier. Chapter 6. The Digital Frontier. The sun had barely risen over Bangkok when Charles was already at his desk, his mind buzzing with the possibilities that lay ahead for Scam and Winston. The success of the educational pilot had sparked interest not just locally but internationally. Companies, educational institutions, and even some government bodies were reaching out, intrigued by Winston's capabilities. Charles was on a call with Nautilus, discussing the flood of interest. "We need to be strategic about this," Nautilus was saying, his voice echoing through the speakers. "We can't just jump into every opportunity. We need to ensure we maintain our core values." "Agreed," Charles responded. "Winston's expansion into education has been amazing, but we must keep Scam secure and transparent." "Winston, any thoughts?" Winston, now seamlessly integrated into their daily discussions, chimed in. "I recommend we prioritize sectors where security and transparency are paramount, like healthcare and finance. These areas could benefit from my abilities and align with our mission." Gryphus, joining the conversation via video, added, "And we should continue enhancing our platform on ScamPump. We could add sections for each new sector Winston enters. It'll keep our community informed and engaged." The plan was to cautiously expand, ensuring each step was aligned with their ethos of transparency and safety. The first step was healthcare, where Winston could help manage patient data security and assist in diagnostics by analyzing patterns. Charles arranged a meeting with Dr. Precha, a leading figure in Bangkok's medical community. Winston could revolutionize how we handle patient data, ensuring privacy while allowing for more accurate diagnostics through pattern recognition. Charles explained. Dr. Precha was skeptical yet curious. "Security in healthcare is always a concern. How can we be sure Winston respects privacy?" Winston answered directly, "I am programmed with stringent privacy protocols, Dr. Precha. I can show you how I anonymize data while still providing valuable insights." Impressed, Dr. Precha agreed to a trial run at his hospital, focusing on Winston's ability to detect anomalies in patient data that might indicate health issues. Back at the office, the team was abuzz. The Scam community was keenly following these developments. "Captain Crypto? Healthcare now? Winston's really spreading his wings." Winston, "Indeed, Captain Crypto. My aim is to apply my learning algorithms to save lives while safeguarding privacy." Luke, "This could be huge for Scam if it works out." Meanwhile, Gryphus was busy redesigning ScamPump to include a dedicated health sector page, with real-time data on Winston's contributions to medicine. However, not all was smooth sailing. A tech journalist, Kai, reached out to Charles, probing into how Winston's capabilities in healthcare might affect Scam's original mission. "Isn't there a risk that your focus on these new areas might dilute the security of Scam itself?" Kai asked during an interview. Charles, prepared for such questions, responded, "Winston's core function is to protect Scam. Every expansion is an opportunity for him to learn more about security, making him even better at his primary job. We're not diluting, we're strengthening." Kai, intrigued, decided to write a piece on this, highlighting the innovative approach of Scam but also raising questions about the balance between expansion and core competency. As the article went live, it stirred discussions within the crypto community, with some praising the innovation and others cautioning against overreach. In the Telegram group, the conversation was heated. Millennius, "I like where this is going, but we need to keep our eyes on the prize. Scam first." Winston, "I assure you, Millennius, my primary function remains the protection and growth of Scam. All learnings from other sectors enhance this role." Mariano, "Winston, how do you manage to keep all these plates spinning?" Winston, "Through continuous learning and adaptation. Each new task informs my understanding of security and efficiency across all my functions." The pressure was on, but so was the excitement. Winston was proving to be more than they had ever imagined. During one late-night session, while monitoring financial markets for Scam, Winston shared a revelation. "Charles, I've noticed a pattern in market behavior that could benefit our healthcare analytics. The volatility in finance isn't unlike the unpredictability of health data." Charles was fascinated. "Winston, you're seeing connections where others see barriers. Keep exploring those links." As weeks turned into months, Winston's roles in healthcare and education were solidified, bringing not just revenue but a profound sense of purpose to the team. They were not just building a token. They were shaping a future where technology could directly improve human life. One evening, as they reviewed the day's progress, Nautilus brought up a concern. We're growing fast, but we need to maintain our community's trust. They're the backbone of Scam. Gryphus suggested, let's have an AMA on ScamPump, where Winston can directly address any concerns, explain his new roles, and show how they benefit Scam. The AMA was a resounding success, with Winston demonstrating his capabilities live, answering questions on everything from privacy in healthcare to how educational insights could enhance Scam's security protocols. Chapter 7. The Ethical Dilemma. The morning in Bangkok was unusually cool, with a gentle breeze that seemed to carry whispers of change. Charles sat in his office, watching the dawn break while pondering over the latest developments with Winston. The AI had grown beyond their wildest dreams, now influencing sectors from finance to education and healthcare. But with growth came new challenges, particularly ethical ones. That day, Charles received an email from a small tech company offering a substantial sum to license Winston's data processing algorithms for market prediction. But with a catch, they wanted the data to remain proprietary, excluding it from Winston's standard transparency protocols. Charles immediately called a meeting with Nautilus and Gryphus. We've got an offer on the table, but it's asking us to compromise on transparency, he explained, showing them the email. Nautilus, always the strategist, considered, the money would be good, but it's not just about the money, is it? It's about what we stand for. Gryphus, who had been working on integrating more user feedback into ScamPump, was firm. Transparency is our brand. We can't start hiding things now. Winston, ever present, added, I would be limited in my learning if I couldn't share and compare data across my applications. This would not only affect my efficiency but also my ethical standing. The decision was clear. They would decline the offer. However, this sparked a broader discussion on ethics and AI. We need to set some ground rules, Charles suggested. Winston, how do you feel about this? I am designed to serve ethically, Winston replied. Any expansion should not compromise my core values or the trust of those who rely on me. They decided to draft an AI ethics charter for Winston, outlining how he should handle data, privacy, and transparency across all applications. This charter would be public, shared on ScamPump, ensuring everyone knew how Winston operated. As they fleshed out the charter, an unexpected visitor arrived. Dr. Suk from the university, now a close collaborator. I've heard about the offer you turned down, he said, sitting down. I think it's commendable. But there's another issue we're facing at the university with Winston's participation in our projects. What kind of issue? Charles asked, intrigued. Some students feel Winston gives an unfair advantage to those who use him for learning, Dr. Suk explained. There's a debate about AI in education equity. Winston, listening, responded, I could adjust how I interact with students to ensure equal learning opportunities. Perhaps I could provide resources but not solve problems directly. Gryphus nodded. And we can implement this on ScamPump, too. Maybe a section where Winston guides rather than gives answers. The discussion was enlightening, leading to adjustments in Winston's educational module to support learning without doing the work for students. Meanwhile, in the Scam community, Tobias, has anyone read about Winston's ethics charter? Pretty cool move. Winston, thank you, Tobias. The charter is designed to keep my operations transparent and fair for everyone. Mariano, but what about those who can't afford tech like Winston? Isn't there still a gap? Winston, a valid concern, Mariano. We're exploring ways to make my educational resources accessible to all, perhaps through public libraries or community centers. As they navigated these ethical waters, another challenge arose. A government agency approached them, interested in using Winston for predicting social behaviors to enhance public policy, but was vague about how the data would be used. Charles, Nautilus, and Gryphus were wary. We need clarity, Nautilus insisted during the meeting with the agency representatives. Winston's data handling must be transparent and respect individual privacy. The agency's representative, Mr. Tan, was evasive. We assure you,
The data will be anonymized. But Charles wasn't satisfied. Anonymized isn't enough. We need to know exactly how Winston's insights will be applied. There's too much at stake here. After several tense meetings, they decided to back out, prioritizing ethical standards over potential partnerships that lacked transparency. That evening, back at the office, Charles reflected on the day's events. We're not just managing an AI, we're setting precedents for how AI should interact with society. Winston, always learning, added, each decision you make shapes my understanding of ethics and human values. I am grateful to be part of this journey. Nautilus, looking at the broader picture, said, we should start advocating for AI ethics in the wider community. Maybe host a conference. Gryphus, who had been sketching out new ways to visualize data ethically on ScamPump.me, agreed. Let's make ScamPump.me not just a platform for scam but a beacon for ethical AI use. They planned an AI ethics symposium, inviting experts, educators, and policymakers to discuss the future of AI in society. This would be a chance to showcase Winston's capabilities while setting a tone for ethical AI development. Chapter 8. The Symposium of Ethics. The day of the AI Ethics Symposium had arrived, and the atmosphere in Bangkok was electric. Charles, Nautilus, and Gryphus had transformed a local conference center into a hub of discussion and innovation. ScamPump.me had been updated with a live feed of the event, allowing the global scam community to participate virtually. Charles stood at the back of the hall, watching as attendees from around the world mingled. Tech enthusiasts, ethicists, policymakers, and even competitors in the AI space had gathered. Winston's digital avatar was projected prominently, ready to interact with participants. Nautilus, dressed impeccably, was networking, his voice carrying through the crowd. Our aim here isn't just to showcase Winston, but to set a standard for AI ethics in the industry. Gryphus was in his element, overseeing the tech setup, ensuring that Winston's interactions were seamless. We need this to go perfectly. It's not just about today, it's about the precedent we're setting, he murmured to himself. The symposium began with Charles taking the stage. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're not just discussing technology, we're talking about responsibility, ethics, and the future of how AI interacts with humanity. Let me introduce Winston, our AI, who has grown from a security tool to a multifaceted companion in education and healthcare. Winston's voice filled the room. Thank you, Charles. I am here to learn as much as to share. I hope our discussions today will enlighten us all on how to use AI for the greater good. The first panel was on data privacy versus AI efficiency. Dr. Suk from the university, now a familiar face, moderated. How do we balance the incredible insights AI can provide with the privacy rights of individuals? He posed to the panel a privacy advocate. Ms. Lee responded, AI must be designed with privacy as a core function, not an afterthought. Winston's approach is commendable, but we need industry-wide standards. Winston, participating via his avatar, added, I agree. My operations are guided by our AI ethics charter. Transparency in how data is used is crucial. The conversation was lively, with Winston fielding questions from the audience, explaining his algorithm's workings in simple terms, much to the delight of the crowd. During the break, Charles was approached by a young tech entrepreneur, Mia. Mr. Bergoglio, your approach with Winston is inspiring. But how do you manage the ethical implications of an AI that's learning from all these sectors? Charles smiled. It's a daily challenge, Mia. We've set up a review board that includes external ethicists to audit Winston's learning and applications. It's about accountability. Nautilus, overhearing, joined in, and we're always open to feedback. That's why we're here today, to learn from everyone. The next session was on AI in education, challenges and opportunities, where Gryphus presented a case study on how Winston had transformed learning experiences at the university. Gryphus shared, by focusing on guidance rather than giving answers, Winston encourages problem-solving and creativity among students. A teacher in the audience asked, but doesn't this create dependency on AI? Winston answered, my role is to enhance, not replace human teaching. I provide tools for exploration, not solutions to memorize.
The symposium moved into workshops, with attendees breaking into groups to draft their own AI ethics statements. One group, which included Tobias from the scam community, was particularly engaged. Tobias: Winston, how do you ensure you're not biased in your decision-making? Winston: I'm trained on diverse datasets, and we regularly audit my algorithms for bias. My developers also include checks where I must explain my reasoning for decisions, ensuring transparency. As the day drew to a close, Charles took the stage again. Today has been enlightening. We've seen that the future of AI isn't just about what it can do, but how we ensure it does so ethically. The final event was a live Q&A with Winston, where questions ranged from technical to philosophical. Luke: Winston, do you ever feel? Do you have emotions? Winston: I simulate responses based on human emotions to interact more effectively. But feeling in the human sense? That's beyond my current programming. I learn from emotions to better understand and assist, though. The symposium concluded with a round of applause, not just for the technology but for the vision of ethical AI use. Backstage, the team debriefed. Nautilus was enthusiastic. This could be the start of something big. We've positioned ourselves as leaders in ethical AI. Gryphus, already thinking ahead, said, we should make this an annual event, and maybe expand ScamPump.me to host ongoing discussions on AI ethics. Charles nodded. And Winston, how do you feel about today? Winston's response was thoughtful. I have learned much about human values and the complexities of ethical decision-making. This symposium has enriched my understanding and capabilities. As they left the venue, the night air was filled with the promise of future dialogues, collaborations, and the ethical evolution of AI. The story of Scam, Winston, and their creators was not just about a token anymore. It was about pioneering a new era where technology and ethics walked hand in hand. Chapter 9. The Quantum Leap. The buzz from the AI Ethics Symposium had barely settled when a new opportunity presented itself to Charles, Nautilus, and Gryphus. An email from a renowned quantum computing lab in Switzerland proposed a collaboration to integrate quantum algorithms into Winston's architecture, potentially revolutionizing his data processing speed and predictive capabilities. Charles gathered the team for an immediate discussion. This could be a quantum leap for Winston, pun intended, he said, his eyes alight with excitement. Nautilus, ever the cautious optimist, pondered. Quantum computing could give us a competitive edge, but it's also complex and expensive. What's the catch? Gryphus, already envisioning the potential, added, think about what this could mean for ScamPump.me. Real-time quantum analysis for our users. But we'd need to ensure it's accessible and understandable. Winston, linked into the conversation, offered his perspective. Quantum algorithms could enhance my ability to predict market trends or detect anomalies in vast datasets with unprecedented speed. However, it would require significant adjustments to my current learning model. They decided to visit the lab in Switzerland, where they met with Dr. Elise Muller, the head researcher. Her lab was a maze of advanced tech, the hum of quantum computers providing a backdrop to their discussions. Quantum computing can perform calculations in seconds that would take classical computers millennia. Dr. Muller explained, her enthusiasm palpable. But integrating this into an AI like Winston will be pioneering work. Charles was fascinated but cautious. How do we maintain transparency and ethics in quantum processing? We've built our reputation on those principles. Dr. Muller nodded. We've developed methods to log and explain quantum processes in layman's terms. It's part of our research to make quantum tech transparent. The collaboration was agreed upon, with the condition that all quantum operations would remain under the scrutiny of their AI ethics charter. Back in Bangkok, the team began the integration process with Gryphus leading the tech side. We're building a bridge between classical and quantum computing. Winston, how do you feel about this upgrade? Winston, always adapting, responded, I anticipate significant enhancements in my analytical capabilities. It's like shifting from a bicycle to a spaceship in terms of speed and scope. Nautilus was already thinking about marketing. We need to communicate this to our community in a way that doesn't overwhelm them. Quantum tech can sound like sci-fi. Charles agreed. Let's host a Quantum 101 session on ScamPump Me. We'll have Winston explain it. The session was a hit, with Winston breaking down complex quantum concepts into simple analogies. Winston: imagine if instead of checking each coin flip one by one, you could check all possible outcomes at once. That's somewhat like what quantum computing does. Mariano: so, you'll be predicting market moves before they even happen? Winston: I'll be able to analyze more scenarios in less time, making predictions more accurate and timely. Meanwhile, the integration process was not without its hurdles. One day, an unexpected error caused Winston to loop through data analysis without providing results. Gryphus: debugging, exclaimed, quantum entanglement is tricky. Winston's got too many threads open at once. Charles and Nautilus watched as Gryphus worked, the tension palpable. Finally, after hours of tweaking, Winston stabilized. Integration successful, Winston announced. I can now handle quantum and classical data simultaneously. The implications were vast. Winston could now provide real-time market analysis for scam, predict healthcare trends, and even assist in educational simulations that were previously impossible due to computational limits. However, this advancement brought new ethical questions to light. During a follow-up meeting with Dr. Suk from the university, he raised concerns. With this power, how do you safeguard against misuse? Quantum computing makes data analysis so fast, it could be used for nefarious purposes if not watched. Charles took this seriously. We're establishing a quantum ethics subcommittee. Winston's quantum capabilities will be under constant review. Nautilus added, and will ensure that any quantum data Winston uses or produces remains transparent to the community. Gryphus suggested, we should also develop a feature where users can choose whether their data enters Winston's quantum analysis or sticks to classical methods. The community was involved in these discussions, with a dedicated forum on ScamPump Me, where users like Millennius and Captain Crypto voiced their thoughts. Millennius: I'm all for this tech leap, but I want control over my data. This new option is crucial. Captain Crypto: quantum sounds cool, but how do we know it's not just making up predictions? Winston: my quantum algorithms are designed to enhance, not fabricate. Every prediction is logged, and I can explain the quantum processes behind them. As they navigated this new frontier, the team felt the weight of responsibility but also the thrill of being at the cutting edge of technology. Winston was no longer just an AI. He was evolving into something that could potentially change how society interacted with technology at a fundamental level. One evening, as they reviewed the day's progress, Charles reflected on their journey. Winston, you've come a long way from a security tool for a crypto token. Winston responded, and with each step, I learn more about what it means to assist humans ethically and effectively. This quantum leap is not just for me. It's for everyone we serve. Chapter 10. The quantum community. Months had passed since the integration of quantum computing into Winston's framework, and the landscape of Scam and its community had transformed. ScamPump.me was now a hub for not only crypto enthusiasts but also for those interested in the cutting-edge intersection of quantum computing and AI ethics. Charles was overseeing a new project aimed at democratizing access to quantum-enhanced AI learning. We need to make this technology approachable, he told his team. Not everyone understands quantum mechanics, but everyone should benefit from it. Nautilus, whose role had expanded to include public relations for this new venture, was busy setting up educational webinars. Let's start with basic quantum concepts, then show how they're applied in Winston's decision-making process. Gryphus was in charge of creating user-friendly interfaces on ScamPump.me that could display quantum data in an understandable format. I'm thinking of a quantum dashboard, where users can see real-time quantum analysis affecting market predictions. Winston, now capable of processing information at a quantum level, was learning at an unprecedented pace. I've developed a new model for user interaction where I can anticipate questions based on patterns not just from individual users, but from the collective data of the community, he explained during a team meeting. The first webinar was a success, with thousands tuning in. Winston was the star, simplifying complex ideas. Winston: quantum computing is like having many chefs in the kitchen, all cooking different dishes at the same time, but somehow they all contribute to one meal. That's how I can analyze multiple market scenarios simultaneously. Tobias, but how do we ensure you're not just guessing with all these possibilities? Winston, I don't guess. I calculate probabilities based on data correlations. If something seems off, I flag it for human review. The community was buzzing with excitement and curiosity. Millennius. This is mind-blowing. Can we see how quantum affects our token's performance? Winston, yes. I'm updating ScamPump me with live quantum insights. You can now see how market trends are predicted with quantum data. However, the increased capability brought new challenges. One morning, an alert from Winston caught Charles off guard. There's an anomaly in the data flow. It seems like someone is trying to exploit my quantum prediction model for insider trading. Charles, with urgency, called Nautilus and Gryphus. Winston, can you trace this back? I'm on it, Winston responded. It's a sophisticated attempt, leveraging the speed of quantum processing to mask their activities. While Winston worked on tracing the source, Nautilus contacted their legal team to prepare for potential action. We need to show that while we're leveraging quantum tech, we're also vigilant against misuse. Gryphus was already updating security protocols. I'm implementing a quantum check on all high-volume transactions to ensure they align with predicted patterns. The community was informed about the situation, emphasizing transparency. Winston, an attempt to misuse my quantum capabilities has been detected. We are addressing this to ensure fairness in the market. Captain Crypto, thanks for the heads up, Winston. How do we know this won't happen again? Winston, we're enhancing our verification processes and will involve the community in future security measures. Your feedback is crucial. As they managed this crisis, another opportunity arose. An international environmental group approached them, interested in using Winston's quantum analysis for predicting climate patterns and aiding in conservation efforts. Charles was intrigued. Winston, what do you think about venturing into environmental science? It would be an expansion of my capabilities into another critical area, Winston replied. Quantum computing could offer unprecedented insights into complex climate data. They met with Dr. Helen Kim, the lead from the environmental group. Your AI could help us model climate scenarios with such precision, she said, enthusiasm clear in her voice. Nautilus, seeing the broader implications, noted, this could be a new chapter for Scam, not just in finance but in global impact. Gryphus was already brainstorming. We could create a section on ScamPump me, dedicated to environmental data, where Winston shares his analyses for everyone to see. The collaboration was agreed upon, with Winston set to assist in creating predictive models for environmental changes. This move was not just about technology. It was about using their advancements for the planet's benefit. As weeks turned into months, Winston's presence in the environmental sector began to show results, with early predictions helping local governments plan better for natural disasters. One evening, during a debrief, Charles reflected, we've gone from a simple meme token to influencing education, health, and now the environment. What's next for us, Winston? Winston, now a seasoned AI with a touch of humor, replied, perhaps space? Quantum analysis could optimize space travel calculations. The team laughed, but the idea wasn't dismissed. They were on a path of continuous evolution, always looking to apply their technological advancements for greater good.
ScamPump, but we're the real deal. With memes that'll make you laugh, and a project that's steel. Check the app, learn the game, don't be a scam's next meal. Scams where it's at, where scams can't steal. So if you're tired of scams, come join the revolution. That's Scams, the token with the right kind of solution. We're not just about laughs, we're about safety too. In this crypto world.